The raid in the quiet colony. The children were playing in the long glass hallway of the colony station. Outside, the huge windows' stars filled the darkness of space, and the blue curve of a distant planet slowly turned below them. For the people living on the small human colony, life was peaceful. Families worked together to build farms, research labs, and living areas inside the station. Many of them had come here looking for a quiet life far away from crowded worlds. The children loved the station more than anyone else. For them, the floating city in space was a place full of adventure. They ran through the hallways, laughed in the gardens, and watched cargo ships arrive from Earth. No one in the colony expected danger. Far beyond the edge of the system, 3 dark ships moved silently through space. Their engines were dim and their signals hidden from normal scanners. Inside, the lead ship alien raiders prepared their equipment. Their leader was tall and thin with dark armor covering his body. His voice was calm as he spoke to the others. The human colony is small. Their defenses are weak. We take the children and leave quickly. Another alien looked at the screen showing the station. Why human children? The leader answered simply. They are valuable. Many worlds pay well for young humans. The raiders laughed quietly as their ship moved closer to the colony. Inside the station, everything still felt normal. Workers walked through the halls. Families prepared meals. Children continued playing near the observation windows. Then the lights flickered for a moment. One of the station guards looked at his scanner with confusion. A signal had appeared near the outer edge of the station. Before he could react, the first explosion shook the structure. The alien ships had already arrived. Small attack craft rushed toward the docking ring and forced their way inside the station. The guard tried to respond, but the raiders moved quickly. Their weapons were silent and powerful. Doors were cut open. Security systems shut down. And within minutes, the raiders reached the residential section. The children heard strange noises coming from the hallway. One small boy looked toward the door as it suddenly opened. Dark armored figures stepped inside the room. The children froze. The aliens moved fast, placing small devices on the walls that blocked communication signals. Their leader looked around the room calmly. There they are. Several children tried to run, but the raiders caught them easily. The aliens used energy restraints that held the children without hurting them. Within moments, the kidnappers had everything they came for. Outside the station, the attack ships returned to their main vessel. The entire raid had taken only a few minutes. Before the colony defense ships could react, the alien fleet turned and disappeared into deep space. Inside the station, chaos spread through the halls. Parents searched for their children. Security teams checked every corridor. Finally, the terrible truth became clear. Several human children were gone. The colony commander stood in the control room, staring at the empty security recordings. His voice was quiet but heavy. Send a signal to Earth. The operator hesitated for a moment. The Hunter Protocol. The commander nodded slowly. Yes. The operator activated the emergency communication system and sent a message across the stars. Far away on Earth, inside a deep command facility, a signal arrived. An officer read the message on the screen. For a moment, the room became completely silent. Then he spoke the words no one wanted to hear. They took human children. Another officer slowly stood up. Activate the hunters. Because across human space, there was one rule every civilization knew. When human children are taken, humanity does not negotiate. Humanity hunts. The hunters awaken. Far from the quiet colony, the alien raider ships moved quickly through deep space. Their engines burned with dark blue light as they traveled farther away from human territory. Inside the main ship, the alien leader stood near the control platform, watching the star map. The mission had been simple and fast. No heavy fighting. No damage to the ships. The captured children were already secured inside holding chambers. Another alien walked toward the leader. The raid was successful. The leader nodded slowly. Of course it was. Humans are weak settlers. They build farms and stations, not armies. The crew laughed quietly, believing the mission was already complete. They planned to travel to a distant black market where the children could be sold for a high price. None of them realized that something far more dangerous had already begun. Far away on Earth, deep beneath a massive mountain, a hidden command facility came alive. The emergency signal from the colony echoed through the underground halls. Officers rushed into the command center while large screens filled with star maps and fleet locations. A calm voice spoke inside the room. "Confirm the message." Another officer answered quietly. "Confirmation received. Multiple children taken during the raid." The room fell silent. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the commander of the facility slowly stood up. "Activate Hunter Protocol." Immediately, dozens of communication signals spread across human space. Secret bases hidden inside asteroid belts received the message. Deep Space Patrol ships received the same signal. Inside distant military stations, elite soldiers looked at the command screens. One simple message appeared everywhere. "Human children captured. Hunter Protocol active." Across the galaxy, small groups of special human forces began preparing for launch. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were the hunters. Elite warriors trained for one purpose: tracking enemies across entire star systems and bringing human lives home. Inside a hidden hangar on a distant moon, a massive warship powered on. Its engines glowed softly while crews rushed to their stations. The captain of the ship walked onto the command deck. He looked at the message on the screen. "Human children taken." His voice was calm but serious. "Prepare for launch. We hunt." Meanwhile, the alien raider ships continued traveling through empty space. They believed they had already escaped human territory. The crew relaxed while the navigation systems plotted the route toward a distant trade world. But something strange began happening on their scanners. One officer looked at his screen with confusion. "The nearby trade routes are empty." Another officer checked the data. "Several ships that should be traveling through this sector are gone." The alien leader frowned slightly. Perhaps just a coincidence. But the silence of space slowly began to feel different. Far behind them, a human warship appeared from hyperspace. Then another. Then several more. They did not rush forward or reveal themselves. Instead, they spread across nearby systems, quietly closing every possible escape route. The hunters had begun their search. Inside the alien ship, the crew suddenly noticed a new signal. A faint energy trail had appeared on their scanners. The officer looked confused. "Strange sensor readings behind us." The leader turned toward the screen. "Probably debris or a passing ship. Continue course." But deep in space, the human hunters were already watching, tracking every engine burn, every movement, every signal. Because once the hunters begin their pursuit, they never stop. And somewhere inside the alien ship, several human children sat quietly in the dark holding room. One small girl looked through the window toward the distant stars. She did not know where the aliens were taking them. But far across the galaxy, humanity had already begun moving. And the hunters were getting closer every second. The silent pursuit. Deep in the cold darkness of space, the alien raider ships continued their journey. Their engines burned steadily as they moved farther away from the human colony they had attacked. Inside the command chamber of the lead ship, the alien leader watched the star map carefully. Their destination was still many hours away, but the crew believed they were already safe. The captured human children were locked inside a secured holding area. Energy barriers surrounded the room, making escape impossible. One of the alien guards walked past the chamber and looked inside. The children sat close together, quietly watching the strange world around them. Some of them looked scared, but none of them cried. The guard found that strange. Most captured species reacted with panic, fear, or anger. These human children were different. They were quiet and watching everything. The guard shook his head and continued walking. Back in the control room, another officer looked at the sensors again. Something was bothering him. "Commander, there are still unusual readings behind us." The leader looked annoyed. "We already checked that. Probably background radiation or passing debris." The officer nodded, but continued studying the screen. Unknown to the raiders, several human ships had already entered nearby systems. They did not rush forward or attack. Instead, they moved slowly like shadows in deep space. The hunters were spreading across the region, building a silent trap. One human ship drifted quietly near a dense asteroid field. Another waited near a small abandoned station, each ship carefully scanning space for one signal. The engine trail of the alien raiders. Inside one of the hunter ships, the captain stood on the command deck. The crew around him worked quietly analyzing data. A navigation officer finally spoke. "Captain, we found a matching engine signature." The room became silent. The captain walked closer to the screen. "Show me." A faint trail of energy appeared across the star map. It matched the engines used by the raider ships. The captain nodded slowly. "They are ahead of us." He turned toward the crew. "Send a signal to the other hunter fleets." The net begins closing. Across nearby systems, more human ships receive the message. One by one, they change their course, slowly moving closer to the target area. Back inside the alien raider ship, the uneasy feeling continued growing. The officer studying the sensors suddenly noticed something new. Multiple signals detected in nearby systems. The alien leader turned toward him. "Merchant traffic." The officer shook his head. "No, these ships are different. They appear and disappear quickly, like they are jumping between systems." The leader looked at the screen more carefully. Something about the pattern felt wrong. But before he could give a new order, another signal appeared. A distant flash of energy far behind them. One of the alien crew members spoke nervously. "Commander, hyperspace exit detected." The leader narrowed his eyes. "Identify the ship." The scanner tried to analyze the signal, but the result was unclear. "Unknown vessel." The room became quiet. The alien leader stared at the screen, thinking. Finally, he spoke. "Increase engine speed. We leave this sector immediately." The raider ships accelerated, pushing their engines harder as they moved deeper into empty space. But they were already too late. Far behind them, human hunter ships continued appearing from hyperspace. One by one, like silent predators entering the hunt. Inside the hunter command ship, the captain watched the alien vessels change course. "They know something is wrong." A crew member asked quietly. "Should we intercept now?" The captain shook his head slowly. "Not yet. Let them run. The more they run, the clearer their trail becomes." He looked at the star map, showing the alien ships moving forward. Then he spoke again. "They took human children. That means the hunt does not end until we bring them home." Far ahead inside the alien raider ship, the crew could not see the silent forces following them through the stars. But the hunters were already there, watching, tracking, closing in, and the distance between hunter and prey was becoming smaller with every passing moment. The trap in the dark. The alien raider ships moved faster now. Their engines burned brighter as they pushed deeper into unknown space. Inside the command chamber, the alien leader stood quietly watching the star map. Something about the last sensor readings still bothered him. The strange signals. The sudden hyperspace exit behind them. It did not feel like random traffic. One of the navigation officers spoke softly. "Commander, we will reach the trade system soon." The leader nodded slowly. "Good, once we arrive, we sell the cargo and leave this region." Another alien laughed from the back of the room. "The humans will never find us. They are farmers and traders, not hunters." The crew agreed with him, believing the raid had already succeeded. But deep inside the ship, the captured children remained silent in their holding chamber. One small boy looked at the energy barrier and then toward the stars outside the window. A quiet voice came from another child. "Do you think someone is coming?" The boy answered softly, "Yes, because that is what humans always do. They come for us." Far away behind the raider ships, the human hunter fleets continued closing the distance. Their ships moved carefully between asteroid fields and abandoned stations, each captain studying the same star map. The raiders were running directly toward a trade system filled with smugglers, pirates, and illegal markets. It was the perfect place for kidnappers to disappear. Inside the main hunter command ship, the captain studied the projected path of the raider fleet. His officers waited for his decision. The captain finally spoke. "They believe they are escaping." but they are running into the trap. He pointed to several locations on the star map. Hunter ships were already waiting near those systems, hidden and silent. A communications officer asked, "Should we warn the other fleets?" The captain nodded. "Send the signal. All hunter groups, move to interception points." Across several nearby systems, human warships changed direction, quietly moving into positions that surrounded the route toward the trade world. The trap was forming. Back inside the alien raider ship, the sensors suddenly detected something unusual. One officer spoke with confusion. "Commander, new signals ahead of us." The alien leader stepped closer to the display. Multiple energy signatures appeared near the edge of the system they were entering. The officer tried to identify them. Unknown vessels. The leader frowned. "Pirates." Another officer shook his head. "No, pirate ships are usually smaller. These signals are large. Very large." The room slowly grew quiet. Before the leader could respond, another alert appeared. New hyperspace exits detected behind the raider fleet. The alien crew stared at the screen. More unknown ships were appearing. The alien leader felt a cold realization growing in his mind. They were not escaping. They were being surrounded. Far behind them, a human hunter warship emerged from hyperspace. Then another, and another. Their engines glowed with controlled power as they moved forward like silent predators. Inside the hunter command ship, the captain looked at the alien fleet trapped between two groups of human vessels. His voice remained calm. "They cannot escape now." One officer asked quietly, "Do we attack?" The captain looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were smaller, but still dangerous. And the children were still inside them. "No, we move closer. Slowly. Let them see who is hunting them." Back inside the alien raider ship, panic slowly spread through the command chamber. The leaders stared at the growing number of signals surrounding them. These ships were not pirates. Their formations were too precise. Their engines too powerful. One officer whispered the word that none of them wanted to say. "Humans." The alien leader clenched his claws in anger. How did they find us? But deep down, he already understood the answer. They had taken something from humanity that humans would never ignore. Their children. And now the hunters had arrived. And the hunt was about to end. The hunters close in. The alien raider ships slowed as fear quietly spread through their command chamber. The large tactical screen now showed multiple unknown vessels surrounding them from several directions. The alien leader stared at the signals in silence. The shapes of the approaching ships were becoming clearer with every passing moment. They were human warships. Large dark vessels moving slowly through the stars like silent predators. The alien crew felt the pressure growing inside the ship. One officer spoke with a shaking voice. "Commander, they're blocking every route." The leader growled with anger. "Prepare the weapons, we break through their formation." But even as he spoke, another signal appeared on the screen. A direct communication request from one of the human ships. The alien leader hesitated for a moment. Then he allowed the signal to open. The main display in the chamber changed. A human face appeared on the screen. The man looked calm, focused, and completely unafraid. Behind him, the bridge of a massive warship could be seen. The human spoke slowly. "You have something that belongs to us." The alien leader responded with cold anger. "We took nothing that was yours." The human did not react to the words. His voice remained calm. "Return the children, and your ships may leave this system alive." The alien officers looked at their leader, waiting for his response. The alien leader laughed harshly. "You think we fear humans? You are farmers, traders, colonists." The human captain watched him quietly. Then he answered with a single sentence. "We are hunters." The signal ended. For several seconds, the alien command chamber remained silent. Then the leader shouted orders. "All ships attack." The raider vessels turned sharply, their weapons powering on as they prepared to break through the human blockade. Bright beams of energy fired across space. But the human ships moved with incredible precision. Their shields absorbed the first attack without damage. Then the hunters began moving. Human warships advanced slowly, forming a tightening circle around the raiders. Their weapons remained ready, but they did not fire yet. Inside the main Hunter command ship, the captain watched the alien fleet carefully. One officer asked quietly, "Captain, why are we holding fire?" The captain answered without looking away from the screen, "Because the children are still inside those ships." The officer nodded, understanding immediately. Humanity would not risk the lives of their own children. The captain gave a new order: disable their engines. Do not destroy the ships. Precise strikes left the Hunter vessels and crossed the dark space between the fleets. The alien raider ships suddenly shook as their engines were hit. One by one, their propulsion systems failed. Panic spread among the alien crew. "Commander, we are losing power." Another officer shouted, "Our engines are disabled." The alien leader slammed his claw against the control console. How are they doing this? Their attacks were too accurate, too controlled. The humans were not fighting like ordinary soldiers. They were hunting. Inside the holding chamber, the children felt the ship shaking as systems began shutting down. One small boy looked toward the door. "They found us." Another child whispered, "How do you know?" The boy smiled slightly. "Because humans always come back." Outside the damaged raider ships, the human warships slowly closed the distance. Boarding craft launched from their hangars, moving directly toward the disabled vessels. Inside the Hunter command ship, the captain gave the final order: "Prepare rescue teams. Bring the children home." Far away in the silent stars, the trap had fully closed. The raiders were no longer hunters. They had become the prey, and the human hunters were about to enter their ships. Because the hunt was almost over. The end of the hunt. The damaged alien ships floated helplessly in the darkness of space. Their engines were silent, and their weapons had already gone cold. Around them, the human warships held their positions like silent giants. No escape routes remained. Inside the main Hunter ship, the captain watched the tactical screen. Every raider vessel had been disabled exactly as planned. The children were still alive. That was all that mattered. The captain turned toward his crew. "Launch the rescue teams." Several small boarding ships moved out from a human fleet, their engines glowing softly as they crossed the short distance between the two fleets. Inside each craft, human soldiers prepared their equipment. These were the hunters, elite warriors trained to enter hostile ships and complete their mission no matter the danger. Their armor was dark, and their weapons were precise tools designed for close combat. One of the hunters spoke quietly inside the transport. "Remember the priority. Bring the children home." The others nodded. The boarding ships attached to the outer hulls of the alien vessels. Cutting tools opened small entry points through the metal. Within seconds, the hunters entered the raider ships. Inside the alien command chamber, the crew heard the sound of metal cutting through the hull. One officer looked at the leader in panic. "They are inside the ship." The alien leader grabbed his weapon. "Then we fight." The corridors of the alien ship filled with tension as the hunters moved forward. Their helmets scanned the structure, searching for the location of the holding chambers. Alien guards rushed toward them, but the hunters moved faster. Short flashes of energy filled the corridors as the guards were quickly defeated. The hunters did not stop. They continued moving deeper into the ship. Inside the holding room, the children heard distant sounds coming through the walls. Heavy footsteps, strange voices, and sudden silence. The small boy who had spoken earlier looked toward the door again. "They are here." The other children waited quietly. Moments later, the metal door opened. Dark, armored figures stepped inside. For a second, the room was silent. Then one of the hunters slowly removed his helmet. His voice was calm and warm. "You are safe now." The children ran toward the soldiers. The hunters quickly checked the room, making sure no danger remained. One soldier spoke into his communicator. "Target secured." "Repeat, children secured." Across the alien ship, the remaining raiders realized the battle was already lost. Their engines were disabled. Their corridors filled with human hunters. Escape was impossible. Outside in space, the human fleet waited patiently. One by one, the boarding ships returned carrying the rescued children. Inside the Hunter Command ship, the captain stood near the landing bay. The transport doors opened, and the soldiers stepped out with the children. The captain looked at them carefully. Everyone's safe. The lead hunter nodded. Everyone. For the first time since the raid, the captain allowed himself to relax. Far away, the damaged alien ships were now surrounded by human vessels. The raiders would be taken prisoner and their crimes recorded across the galaxy. Because humanity wanted every civilization to understand one simple truth. When human children are taken, humanity does not forgive. Humanity hunts. As the human fleet turned toward home, the rescued children looked out the windows of the transport ship. Stars moved slowly across the darkness. The small boy smiled quietly, because he had been right from the beginning. Humans always come back, and when the hunters are awakened, no one in the galaxy can escape them.